Chapter 1, The 10 Eggs in the Life-Bound Space. Volume 1, The Extraordinary Duo. Legends speak of the times the heavenly Tao withers away and the cycle of reincarnation hits its limit. When that time comes, the endless realms will birth 10 primordial chaos beasts, each of them possessing bodies vaster than the realms of gods. In their wake, heaven and earth will collapse, all life would end, space-time will invert, and the stars themselves perish. These primordial chaos beasts shall vanish as the old world passes. Only then will heaven and earth take shape once more. The natural order shall return, life will flourish, and a new world shall be born. Dark clouds were pressing down on Flamello Science Institute as a storm raged on outside. Institute disciple Tame braved the downpour on the back of his life-bound beast, a 4-winged goldrock, before landing in front of a house. The door creaked open to reveal a beautiful girl in a white dress. With one hand holding up her skirt and an umbrella in another, she crossed the rain with a warm smile to shield Tame from the rain. "Happy anniversary, King." The two hurried inside, whereupon Tame produced a jade hairpin which he placed into her hand. Meo King's eyes sparkled. "What a pretty thing! Help me put it on." The two positioned themselves before a mirror as Tame inserted the hairpin into her hair, giving her face a pinch as he did so. He missed the annoyance that briefly flickered in her eyes. Despite the rumbling storm outside, the atmosphere within the house was sweet. "Tame, I want to become a woman tonight." Meo King lowered her head as her face flushed charmingly. "What do you mean?" "I want to give you myself." She began to remove her dress, revealing her soft skin that left one intoxicated. However, Tame only felt confusion. She had always had a haughty personality, and intimacy was a difficult thing even though they were dating. In fact, she had always said that cultivation was her priority, so they had never even gone public with their relationship. Why would she suddenly take the initiative tonight? Tame retreated 2 steps. "Scared?" she asked. King, something's off with you today. This isn't you." They had gotten to know each other on the road to Ignispolis. Tame had saved her life then, and they had gotten together afterwards. "So how should I be then? Together with you for better and worse, and live a life of mediocrity." Meo King's expression suddenly twisted into a cold sneer as she continued to remove her clothes. A thunderclap rang out as the house's roof was torn off. Lightning arced across the sky, and in that singular instant, a violet three-eyed eagle descended. Sitting atop it was a young man, within whose eyes seemed to lurk pools of lightning. Astride a violet three-eyed eagle and with the storm as a backdrop, he seemed every bit a child of lightning. "Tame, how dare you drug in the salt, King?" The young man's wrath-filled voice was like thunder, and in response, the three-eyed eagle suddenly unleashed a bolt of lightning that slammed into Tame. The life-bound beast spirit soul's ability left Tame paralyzed as electricity coursed through his body, and he fell onto the floor with a thud. "Lin Xiaoting." Tame was stunned. He recognized the man. After all, Lin Xiaoting was a famous existence in the Institute. His talent was shocking, and not only was he one of the Institute's Heavens Division disciples, he was even born to Ignispolis' Lightning Manor. Among the most elite of all the children in the nation of Vermilion Bird's powerful families, he alone stood at the peak. Tame and Meo King were all from Vermilion Bird's smaller cities, and had struggled long and hard to gain the right to cultivate in Flamello Science Institute. Lin Xiaoting was supposed to be in a different world from them, someone they should never have interacted with. "Big brother Ting, save me." A panicked voice called out, and by the time Tame raised his head, King, with her clothes disheveled, was already snuggled up to Lin Xiaoting, staring at Li Taiming hatefully as she cried, "Li Taiming, upon my authority as a Heaven's Division disciple, I am well within my rights to lay down punishment for your conduct that is lower than a beast. Judgment has been passed. Your four-winged gold rock shall hereby be granted the death sentence." Lin Xiaoting declared solemnly. The life-bound beast dying was the same as crippling a beastmaster. Lin Xiaoting's intention was to sever Li Taiming's path of cultivation and make him regress until he one day became a cripple, unable to ever stage a comeback. Dense electricity began to coil around the eagle, screeching cruelly a moment later as it launched itself at the gold rock next to it. With razor-sharp talons pinning the bird down, the eagle began to rip off the feathers of the gold rock. Every feather that was plucked out was accompanied by a small fountain of blood, as well as red shrieks that all stabbed at Li Taiming's heart. Midas? It was his life-bound beast's name, and at long last, Li Taiming understood what these two ruthless people were after. They intend to kill Midas and rob away the Saint Beast Warsoul. 10 days ago, Li Taiming had obtained the precious Saint Beast Warsoul in a secret zone. It was the posthumous remains of a mythical Saint Beast, and was worth a city. Supposedly, it had the potential to create a powerhouse that towered above the masses. Midas had already merged the one Li Taiming had found into its feathers. Only King is close to me in Ignispolis. She must have figured out I had gained something precious. So, she tossed me aside after using information about the Saint Beast Warsoul to latch onto some great family's child. Paralyzed by the electricity writhing around him, he could only look on as Midas, covered in blood, had its feathers plucked away one by one. The desire and pain in its eyes as it cried at Li Taiming stabbed at his heart relentlessly. What could be more painful than one's brother being butchered alive, while one powerlessly looked on? Lin Xiaoting, King. Li Taiming's blood was boiling. Taiming, submit to fate. Neither your strength nor station in life is a match for me or the Warsoul. Drenched by the rain, King approached Li Taiming and looked down at him from above. "So, what? Now you think you are a sparrow who's flown up high and transformed into a phoenix. What else could I be? Big Brother Ting has already promised to help promote me to become a Heaven Sanctum disciple." She looked emotionlessly at him. "Li Taiming, I've come to realize since arriving at Ignispolis that we are just so insignificant. From now on, you'll be one of the masses, and I'll be up high and above. Just take it as a sacrifice you made in the name of love for me. All right. You won't meet a good end. Well, unfortunately that's not going to have anything to do with you. Return from whence you came, Flame Haven. I shall leave you with your life as repayment for the debt of saving my life. From today, we no longer owe each other anything." She crouched down and tidied up his disheveled hair. "I sincerely thank you for your gift. I've simply been bullied too much since young. From today onward, I like those who have looked down on me to kneel while speaking to me." The two of them then left, along with the Warsoul. This world has something called karma. You may believe you are risen high up in the ranks of society. However, there shall come a day when you reap what you've sown with interest. He spat bitterly, his maddened, bloodshot eyes fixated on their departing figures. That night, thunder rumbled and the storm poured. A lowly youth, clutching the corpse of his life-bound beast, no, his brother, left Ignispolis and vanished into the night. He knew there would come a day when he came back and demanded payment for this debt of blood. 3 years, just you wait, Ignispolis. 3 years quickly pass. Midas? Once again, Tame woke up with a start. He regularly dreamed of his brother who had once fought side by side with him, his eyes reddening each time it crossed his mind. He had spent these 3 years in Flamehaven living a hard life to remind him of his revenge, while King had indeed remained high and lofty at Ignispolis, becoming a disciple of Flamelo Science Institute's core, Heaven Sanctum. On the flip side, Tame had become a laughingstock in the Institute for his unsuccessful attempt to drug and violate a girl. Even after returning to Flamehaven, busybodies who didn't know better abounded, who would point and curse at his lack of conduct. To add insult to injury, even his Saint Beast Warsaw was said to be obtained by Lin Xiaoting through his own efforts. Public opinion is under the control of the powerful families. No one will believe a word I say. Nothing could be more cruel than the ways of the world. It was already late night, but Tame got off his bed and went to the window, staring in the direction of Ignispolis. Suddenly, activity occurred within an arcane space in his body. It's finally hatching after 3 years. Tame's eyes widened. That space was called the life-bound space. It was something that existed within every person at the moment of their birth on the Flamelo continent. After 7 days passed, a life-bound beast would hatch within. Practically every person on the continent had their very own life-bound beast. However, Tame's personal space had a massive secret no one knew about. Apart from Midas, who had come into existence together with him, there were actually another 10 mysterious eggs within his life-bound space. And today, 2 of them were wobbling, with cracks even appearing on one of them. Tame shifted the cracking one out of his space, placing it on his bed and quietly waited for it to hatch. The cracks began to spread on the egg, becoming denser and denser as a stifling pressure began to press down on Tame. It's out. The egg split apart.